Hello everyone, today in this video I am going to deal with the fourth chapter of class 10th of First Flight from the diary of Annie Frank, written by Annie Frank. Before we move to the text, I would like to give you the outline of this chapter. This chapter is an extract and has been taken from the diary of a young girl written by Annalise Mary Annie Frank. The chapter mainly discusses the classroom incidents where she was given an extra work as a punishment by her maths teacher. She was not interested in maths and she used to talk a lot during that period in her school, and therefore she was given punishment. So how she was given a punishment to write a paragraph, a topic was given to write on that. So what she wrote and how she wrote, that teacher, after reading that, never scolded him and allowed her to talk in his class. Along with this, the chapter also gives us the background, the details of her family members, and one more thing, that is how she started writing diary, how she developed the habit of writing diary. Now let's move to the text. Now before I move to the text, let me introduce you to the poet Annalise Mary Annie Frank. Was a German-born Jewish girl who wrote while in hiding with her family and 4 friends in Amsterdam during the German occupation of the Netherlands in World War II. Her family moved to Amsterdam after that the Nazis gained power in Germany but was trapped when the Nazi occupation extended into Netherlands. So she basically belongs from Germany. So when Nazi came to power, it was a political party which followed dictatorship. So when it came to power, her family moved to Netherlands, to Amsterdam. But even later on, even Netherlands was occupied by Nazi, and then her family was trapped in that. As persecution against the Jewish population increased, the family went into hiding in July 1942 in hidden room in her father's Otto Frank's office building. After 2 years in hiding, the group was betrayed and transported to the concentration camp system, where Annie died of typhus in Bergen-Belsen within days of her sister Margot Frank. So now, even Nazi occupied Netherlands, they were living in Netherlands only. So now her family along with other friends, they were hiding in the office building of her father. The name of her father is Otto Frank. They lived there in that building for some times, for few months, but someone cheated them, and as a result they were caught and they were transported to the concentration camp, and there she as well as her sister Margot Frank died. Her father Otto, the only survivor of the group, returned to Amsterdam after the war ended to find that her diary had been saved. Convinced that it was a unique record, he took action to have it published in English under the name The Diary of a Young Girl. So if his father, out of all members of her family, only her father, Mr. Otto, he was only survival. He only survived. And when war ended, when Second World War ended, he again returned back to Amsterdam. And when he returned, he found that the diary which was written by Annie Frank was saved. It was not destroyed. So he read that diary and he found that this diary gives a good good record, and therefore he thought that it should be published, and later on it was published under the name The Diary of a Young Girl. And from this book only, from this autobiography only, this chapter has been taken. The diary was given to Anne Frank for her 13th birthday, and chronicles the events of her life from 12 June 1942 until its final entry of 1st August 1944. It was eventually translated from its original Dutch into many languages and became one of the world's most popular, widely read books. So this diary was given to Anne Frank on her 13th birthday. It was gifted to her on her 13th birthday, and in this diary she has written from 12th June 1942 to 1st August 1944. So this diary is written in a chronicle manner. Chronicles, it means in a date-wise manner, since 12 June 1942 to 1st August 1944. So originally it was written in Dutch language, later on it was translated into many other languages, and it became one of the most widely read books of the world. There has also been several films, televisions, and theatrical production, and even an opera based on diary. Described as the work of a mature and insightful mind, the diary provides an intimate examination of the daily life under Nazi occupation. Anne Frank has become one of the most renowned and discussed of the Holocaust victims. So, her diary was even adapted in several films, several theaters, and opera was performed on her diary on the basis of her diary. Several television programs was also telecasted, and it became one of the most widely read book of the world, and it also provides the close examination, the close detail of life of the peoples during Nazi occupation, during the era of Hitler. Now let's move to the text. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me, not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musing of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. So now what she says? In this paragraph, she says that it seems quite strange to her to write a diary. Why it seems strange to her? Because she has never written something like this before. And again, the second thought which she have in her mind, that is, no one will be interested in reading about her, about this girl who is 13-year-old, and she even says that even she will not be interested when she will grow up to read that diary. But again she says that it may be that no one would be interested to read that, but I will write it, no matter whether anyone will be interested to read it or not, but I will write it. Why she will write? Why she said that I will write? Because he says that I have a lot of things to share with someone, but I can't share. It is in my chest, it is in my heart and mind, and I want to express it out, and therefore she says that she will definitely write it. Now in the next paragraph she says, paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. As even we think a lot when we do anything for the first time. Similarly, this girl, before starting to write, because she had never done it before, she was thinking a lot. So when she was in her home, When she was feeling bored, she was quite all alone. She was feeling depressed. She was sitting with her hand on her chin. She was bored. She was listless. Listless, it means lack of energy. At that time, a thought came to her mind. And what was that thought? That it was paper has more patience than people. This thought came to her mind, and this thought motivated her to write diary. Now what does this thought means? It means that if you will share anything with anyone, to any person, then definitely there will be a limit of listening of that person. A time will come when he will feel bored. A time will come when he will not be able to, or he will not want to listen to you anymore. And therefore it may be that he will start behaving irritated with your words, and therefore she says, but there is nothing like this with this paper. She says that as long as you continue to narrate your story, to say, as long as you continue to share your story, the paper will always listen to you without making any nuisance, without showing any sort of irritation. So this thought provoked her, this thought ignited her desire to write a diary. I finally stayed where I was, brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience, and since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff-backed notebook grandly referred to as diary unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. So now she says that she was thinking. Again, she was thinking, brooding. It means that she was engaged in deep thought. Here it is. So while she was thinking, again that thought came to her mind, and she said that definitely she should write it, because no doubt paper is more patient than human being. And then she says that I will write in it, and I am not going to share it to anyone, or it may be that she will share it to someone who would be her real friend. It means to someone to whom she can share everything. It means the day she will win the trust of anyone to whom she will trust as a trustworthy, to that person she will discuss everything, or she will even give that person that diary to read. So she says that it won't make a big difference. It means she says that diary and a trustworthy person both are equal. Both are not going to reveal anything about you to anyone else, or both of them will never get bored of listening to your words and feelings. Now I am back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. So she gave the first reason that why she was prompted to write a diary. The reason behind is that she don't have any friend. Let me put it more clearly, since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world. And I am not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. She says that it's not like that I am all alone. And she says that I have loving parents. There is mother and sister, mother's father, and a 16-year-old sister in her family. And there are other 30 people to whom she can call her friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. So she says that she have everyone what composed a family. So she have mother and father, she have a elder sister, she have aunts, she have around 30 people around her. But again, why she don't have any friend? Let's see. No, on the surface I seem to have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I'm with my friends is having good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunately, they are not liable to change. This is why I have started the diary. So she says that no doubt I have friends, but we are not quite close to each other, and we don't and I don't find anyone so close to whom I should share all my private things, to whom I should share my all thoughts, all feelings, what is there in my heart and mind. So just we meet, we play, we have fun, we talk on everyday things, it means daily routine we discuss, but nothing which is there in the heart and mind. And therefore she finds no one to whom she can share her thoughts and feelings, and therefore she says that definitely she should have one to share with, and for that she had chosen diary. To enhance the image of long-awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do. But I want the diary to be my friend, and I am going to call this friend Kitty. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I had better provided a brief sketch of my family, much as I dislike doing so. So now she says that she is going to name her diary. Her diary is not only a diary for her, it is just like her friend, a very close and real friend. And therefore she says that I am not going to write down in the diary the way most people write down. Now, most people used to write down in the diary just in a casual manner, just as if they are writing it. But she says that she will write in a manner as if she is narrating her story to her family members or to someone who is really truly close to her and is real friend of her. So now she says that now she will give a brief sketch of her family, but she don't like doing so. She don't like describing her family. But since Kitty is her real friend and close friend, therefore she will start with that only by giving her brief details of her family. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, did not marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. So now she is giving the details of her family, that she have a father, and her father is quite adorable person. He is a very good person. He married at the age of 36, and at that time her mother was 25-year-old, and the name of her elder sister is Margot, and she was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926, and Annie Frank was born on 12 June 1929, and she lived in Frankfurt till she was 4 years old. So since her birth to the age of till the age of 4, she lived in Frankfurt with her family. My father immigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with her grandmother. Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in February, when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. So now she says that her father From Frankfurt, he migrated to Holland in 1933, and the name of her mother is given over here, that is Edith Hollander Frank. She said that even her mother went to Holland in September. And these two sisters were sent to Aachen to live with her grandmother. And later on in December, Margot even went to Holland, while Annie Frank went to Holland to accompany her parents in February on the occasion of birthday of her sister. I started right away at Montessori Nursery School. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Curup, Mr. Cupris, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. So she said that when she came to Holland to live with her family, she got admitted to Montessori Nursery School, and there she studied till class 6. Form here is class 6th. And she said that she got admission in first class in first form, and she studied there till class 6th, and in class 6th she left that school, and on the day when she was supposed to give farewell, here she has quoted the name of her teacher, Mrs. Cupris. So on the day of farewell, Mrs. Cupris as well as this girl, Annie Frank, both were in tears. So perhaps both of them were quite emotionally attached to each other, and therefore when the day of departure came, when it was to depart, the day in which they were to separate from each other, on that day both of them were in tears. In summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation, so my birthday passed with little celebration. So she says that in year 1941 her grandmother was not well, she was suffering from any illness, and therefore she had to go through an operation, and therefore that year her birthday was not celebrated with great joy, pomp and show, so it was celebrated in a soberly manner. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. So she says that in January 1942, her grandmother died. And she said that she loved her grandmother a lot, and still she misses her, but she can't express it to anyone. And that year in 1942, her birthday was celebrated. It was not celebrated for the sake of celebration. It was just celebrated to divert the attention of the members of the family who were lost, who were grieved by the loss of grandmother. So just it was a sort of deviation from that sorrow, the grief and the loss which the family has suffered recently. So just for that sake her birthday was celebrated that year, and even a candle in the name of grandmother was lit along with the other members of the family. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present day of 20 June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. So on this day, she got this birthday, she got diary, and she says that now we are left with four members of the family, she, her sister and her parents, and now it is 20 June 1942 when she has started writing her diary. Dearest Kitty, now she has started her diary. Our entire class is quaking in boots. The reason of course is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to next form and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bits. GN and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, CN and Jack, who have staked their entire holiday saving on their bet. So now starts the scene. Now she has started giving a description of classroom. So says in a classroom, and all the students of the class, they are very nervous and afraid. Why they are nervous and afraid? Because today their result is going to be announced. So all of them are worried because of that. They all are worried because the result is going to announce and they are very anxious to know the result. They don't know whether they are going to be promoted to the next class or they are going to be kept in the same class. And half the class is making bets. It means they all are betting each other that whether he will pass or not. Now here in this paragraph she has given a name of her friend, that is GN. So she is sitting with GN. GN and I laugh ourselves silly at two boys behind us. So two boys are sitting behind her and the name of that two boys are, that is CN and Jack. So both of them, even as the whole class is doing, even both of this boy are betting to each other. And in bet what they have put at risk, they have put the saving of their holiday, whatever they have saved throughout their holiday, they have put at stake all those things on bet. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass. No, I am not. Yes, you are. No, I am not. Even G's pleading glance and my angry outburst can't calm them down. So these two boys, CN and Jack, since morning they are continuously discussing the same point, that whether he is going to pass or not. And these two girls, they are getting irritated. They are totally irritated to hear this continuous same thing. And therefore the girl who is sitting with Annie pleaded, requested them to stop discussing the same topic time and again, but they did not listen to her. Even Annie gave them an angry glance, an angry look, but even then they did not stop from discussing that same topic, that whether they are going to pass in the exam or not, whether they are going to be promoted in the exam or not. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on the earth. So now she says that if you will ask me that what is going to be in the result, that whether how many students is going to pass, is going to be promoted, or how many will be left there in the same class, then she says that around 25%, it means about 1/4 of the class will be kept back. Why? Because they are dummies. She says that they are dummies, they are of no use, they are duffer, they are quite weak students, so they are going to be there in the same class. But she says, but teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on the earth. So she thinks that about 1/4 of the students is going to be repeat the class, but she says that we don't know, we can't predict the nature of teacher, they may do anything, we can't predict teachers. I am not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We will make it. The only subject I am not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. So she says that me and my other friends, we are definitely going to be promoted, but she is not sure about maths. But she says that nothing can be done. There is no use of discussing same thing time and again. The only thing that we can do is just we can wait and we can just boost ourselves, motivate ourselves, have patience for the result to be announced. I got along pretty well with my teachers, with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Casing, the old foggy who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox, what you can write about that, I would worry about that later. I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag and tried to keep quiet. So she says that she had a good relation, a good image in front of all her teachers. There was 9 teachers and she says that out of that 9 teachers, 7 were men and 2 were women. And out of all those teachers, she says that she particularly talks about Mr. Casing. Mr. Casing, he was her math teacher, and she say him old foggy. Old foggy, it means old-fashioned person, and he used to teach her math. And this girl, she was not interested in math, and therefore perhaps she used to talk a lot in the class of maths, in the period of maths, and she had got several warnings. Many times this teacher of math has warned her, but even then she had never listened to him. And therefore, as a punishment, one day he asked her to write an essay, write something about a chatterbox. So she did not say a single word. She noted down the subject, she noted down the topic, and she kept it quietly in her bag. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my work, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I thought and suddenly had an idea. I wrote 3 pages. Mr. Kissing had assigned me and was satisfied. So she says that very day when she had finished her homework, whatever was assigned to her in the school, in the evening she get reminded of the topic which was given to her, of the subject which was given to her by Mr. Casing. So she thought that what to write on that given topic. She said that she thought that she will not write anything. She will write something which will favor her. She thought that she will write something which will be in her favor, that she will support herself, that why it is necessary to talk. So she was going to write something in favor of her point, and then an idea came to her mind and she wrote on that idea and on that given topic by Mr. Casing in 3 pages, and she was quite satisfied by reading and by after writing on that given paragraph. So now let's see how he reacted. I argued that talking is student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. So in her favor, what points she has given in that letter, she has discussed that she said she favored herself. And what points she has given? The first point what she has given is that talking its student's traits is its students' characteristics, that they talk a lot. And second point, what she has given, that I talk more because I talk very much because my mother talk very much. And this is the quality what I have inherited from my parents. It's not something which I have occupied. It is not something which I have learned myself, but this is the trait, this is the quality which I have inherited, which I have got in my gene from my parents. I could have controlled it if I would have learned it myself. But the thing is, as this quality came to me from my parents in gene, therefore I can't stop myself, I can't resist myself from talking a lot. So these are the points which she has given in her support. Mr. Kissing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in, and Mr. Kissing had nothing to complain about the two-whole lesson. However, during the third lesson, he had finally had enough. Annie Frank was, as punishment, was for talking in the class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. So now what happened? When she handed over that paragraph to Mr. Casing, he laughed while reading at those arguments. But what happened again in the next class, when he found her talking, again he gave her another topic to write, that was, and the topic was an incorrigible chatterbox. Now what is incorrigible? Some qualities which can never be corrected. That is incorrigible. So that day he gave another topic, that is an incorrigible box. An incorrigible chatterbox, sorry. So again she wrote on that topic and she handed it to Mr. Casing. So this person, he read it and he did not scold her for next 2 whole lessons. But again in third lesson, again he was irritated much enough, and again that day, again as a punishment, he gave her another topic to write upon, and that was Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. So again she was punished, again she was given extra work as a punishment by her math teacher. The class roared. I had to laugh too. Though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterbox, it was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend Sain, who was good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Casing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I had made sure the joke was on him. So when this topic was given to her, that is Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox, when this topic was given to her, the whole classes laughed at her. She felt bad, but in order to show that she was not feeling bad, even she laughed. Now she says that she was not left with any idea about chatterbox, because she had already written 2 paragraphs and that too quite lengthy, and therefore she was left with no idea. And now at this time her friend Sain extended a helping hand to her, and that friend told her that he is going to help her to write that essay from beginning to end, and that person, that her friend, was very good at poetry, and therefore she was overjoyed, she was quite happy, because that friend of her was going to help her out from that situation. Here ingenuity means originality. It means whatever knowledge, whatever thought process, whatever thoughts he had about chatterbox, all was exhausted, all was used already in writing the previous two topic. So now she thought she was planning something, that this time the writing should not be just a writing, it should not be just a paragraph, but it should be something to ridicule, to mock that teacher, to make fun of that teacher, because that teacher has tried to play a joke on her, because that teacher has tried to insult her, make fun of her in the classroom. Therefore she thought that this time I am going to write something which will make joke of that teacher instead of making herself a butt of joke. I finished my poem, and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were beaten to death by father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Casing took the joke the right way. So this time she came up with a unique idea. She wrote something different, and what she wrote? She wrote about the story of a mother duck and a father swan who had 3 ducklings. It means 3 children, and who used to quack a lot. It means who used to talk a lot, and due to their quacking habit, it means due to their habit of talking a lot, their parents, their father has bitten that duckling, and due to which they died. Luckily, Mr. Casing took the joke the right way. So she says that Mr. Casing, instead of taking that joke in a wrong manner, instead of taking it personally, he understood the meaning of the joke, what she was trying to say, and he took it in a right, positive manner. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra work. On the contrary, Mr. Casing always making jokes these days. So she said that that was her final punishment, and after that, Mr. Casing never gave her any extra work. So she says that after reading that final paragraph, he was quite happy. He understood the thing, he understood the matter, and perhaps he was influenced by the writing skill of that child, and therefore from that day he stopped scolding that child, that Annie Frank, for talking too much in the class, and he narrated that story, that poem to the class. He read himself to the class, and not only to her class only, he read that poem to even other classes also, and he added his own comments also, and from that day he never gave any extra work as a punishment to Annie Frank, while at the same time from that day, instead of being boring person, as he has to refer to him as an old foggy, so instead of being old foggy, now he is being a good person. Now he is being friendly with his students. Now he has started making jokes, sharing jokes with students. Yours, Annie, extracted from the diary of young girl with slight adaptation. So this is all about this story. This is how Annie Frank get rid from that continuous punishment given by her maths teacher. So in this story we read about the family details, background of Annie Frank. Secondly, we read that how she started writing diary, how and why she started writing diary, and thirdly, how in a creative manner, how by using her writing skills she has done away with the punishment, with the continuous punishment of her maths teacher. Not only that, how she was able to influence her maths teacher and to get away with the continuous punishment of her maths teacher. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any doubt, write in our comment box. Thank you.